It's great to meet you. Patrick Donnelly. I'm based out of Pennsylvania, Lehigh Valley to be specific. I graduated from Lehigh University here, played baseball there. So working on a basketball project, but a baseball player at heart, primarily because I'm only 5'11", and scoring 10 points in high school can only take you so far. I was a decent hitter and a good shortstop. So graduated in 2017 and then entered the industry in sports marketing, working for a boutique sports documentary agency that made a couple projects for Netflix and Amazon. And then I moved over to a sports marketing agency that was acquired by Wasserman and came across this little project called 360 Hoops in 2021 when it was in early prototype stages, and met Shane, met Anthony, and really fell in love with the product and what this will do for kids in the youth sports industry. So I ended up investing in one of those early friends and family, what they call a napkin round. And then COVID happened, and then I got involved full time with Anthony and Shane back in August of 24. So I've been working on this project here full time for almost 2 years now, and seeing it come to life here where we're at today has been amazing and it's super special. So I kind of work on strategy and brand development across the board here, primarily focused on sports marketing and really figuring out what I can do to help commercialize this and scale it as we go to market here. So ultimately was in as an investor first, really believing in this and what it'll do. And it's very passionate, and bringing it to life full time here has been nothing short of special. So that's a little behind me. I'll walk you through this project, but more importantly, would love to pass this to Anthony to introduce himself and why he's so passionate about this project.
I'm an entrepreneur. I built companies most of my life. I'm 56 years old. I think I had 5 companies prior to this where something magical happened. I actually had a company on New York Stock Exchange in my 20s. It was really an amazing paper. I was worth, I don't know, $30 million, something like that. Mostly in the tech space. And I sold my company. I'd moved to Orlando during the year of handing the CEO torch to the new CEO. I wanted to live in the same city as our corporate office. So I kind of family, we lived in South Florida, and we moved to like Orlando, and moved to a little gated community. And my son at the time was like 2 years old. I have 4 kids. He didn't, he's kind of shy. And so in the parking lot where they pick up the kids for school, another dad comes over. He's like, "Hey, does your son want to be on my basketball team?" And it's Coach Brey, Mike's brother, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so he put my son on his team. It was called the Dream Team. I think they paid him $150. Like, he makes no money doing this, man. And like, takes these kids, he's training them 3 times a week, taking them to tournaments. Like, it was amazing the heart he had for these kids. And so I got to know him as a coach of my son in this team. He just had one team, by the way. It wasn't like he made a real business out of it. It was just one team. And he just gave it, son was on it, and just gave it his all. Then I got to know him, and mom's an Olympic athlete. His brother's a famous coach. I'm like, to get you a basketball academy. Like, we got to build a Bray's basketball academy. Like, started looking at space in a mall right next to where we live, and we tried to measure out if you could fit a basketball court on that inside this mall, and you just couldn't do it with the columns. So we're at the food court scratching our heads. Both of our sons were there, like, let's find a way to do something in less space. And then a few days later, it's like Taco Tuesday at the Bray's house. He takes a tortilla and olives and cheese and kind of into 3 quadrants. And we have a picture of this tortilla. And then he like out like this triangle. And I call him, like, "What's this?" He says, "Well, there's going to be 3 backboards. They're connected together. They're going to play around it." So, okay. So I had a metal fabricator that did some custom like stuff for my boats and jet skis. And I said, actually took apart 3 traditional backboard, like basketball, type setups. And we actually unscrewed the backboards, and I brought them to this guy. I'm like, "Hey, can you connect these together?" Which was like, he's kind of laughing at me. He's like, "I could, but maybe I could just fabricate one from scratch." So the first version of that was fabricated. We took it on a boat to Disappearing Island in Florida, where off of New Smyrna Beach, and the sand is hard. So you can actually bounce a basketball on the sand on this island. And so we brought it there with about 40 kids, and it was a hot summer Florida day. Dig a huge hole, this auger, to get this thing into the sand. The early version of this had 3 base attachments that you could interchange. So one would go in the hole of a volleyball post, and then one you could just put on pavement. So this was, sand, and we set it up. And after we set it up, we kind of down on the coolers, just trying to catch our breath. And the kids just started playing. And have a 8 or 9 month old, what I notice about little kids and even middle school kids, they're very creative. Like they invent stuff. Like my daughter, when she was 9 years old, you could throw paper clips on the ground and she start naming them and kind of game. And so these kids started playing. I'm like, what are they doing? And it's like we could see they were like they basically invented the game that is what's taken off today. Because this company is a product and a game, and they were playing 3-on-3, but they could score in any basket. They're playing around it, and like teams of three, but like who wins stays on, like hit court. And I was like, Brey, wow, we should go after beach volleyball. Like watching beach volleyball on beach sports, like looks pretty cool and fun. I had no idea this was gonna be a real business. I was just trying to help Brey create something in basketball, and then started thinking about it. We built a little business plan, and then I said, Brey, if we're gonna turn this into a business, we got to get your brother involved. So we flew out to South Bend and a football game, and Mike Brey, and he came on as an investor. So he was one of the early investors. Kind of this idea was still on a napkin, and led to where we are today. And
Yep.
the one interesting thing about how natural this game comes to kids, there was another opportunity. We were hiring a CEO from Nike. He'd been 27 years at Nike, responsible for sneakers and basketball at Nike. He signed Kobe Bryant and Kevin Durant at Nike. So he said, hey, before I take this job, I want to see the game for myself. So we arranged to show it to him in South Carolina at a place called Rock Hill Sport and Activity Complex. And we had it set up on the championship court. And it's a facility that they wanted to give us a tour. So we go on this like 20-30 minute tour. When we come back, we're at the top of the championship court looking down, and there's kids playing on our 360 hoop. And we're looking at them, and they're like playing our game. So I go down to these kids. I was like, we just launching this year, Steven. So like this
Mhm.
was, no one heard of this. So I said, where did you guys see videos? It's like, how did you learn about this game? They're like, we've never seen anything. We just walked in here and saw it and just started playing. So another set of middle school kids invented the exact same game, Steven. Like that
Yeah.
was so there's a big part of the value proposition of this because we're contending we have like a pickleball of basketball, like a game, kind of get it off and captivate the world. And that is the best intro I
Mhm.
can give you guys to the deck.
Really exciting how this all has all come together, and we're sitting here today in the best spot that we've ever been. And we have a really, really strong opportunity on our hands. So we have a fully patented new basketball platform on our hands. Both the product is patented as well as the gameplay. So we see an opportunity in front of us that we really control the destiny of because we are the only ones who can bring this to market. So 360, as I mentioned, it's a fully patented sports platform with our 3-in-1 hoop system and our proprietary 360-degree gameplay format. So this is a faster, more engaging, and highly scalable participation experience that we're bringing to market. So across product, gameplay, and activation, we really love where we sit, and we love the defensible IP that we've created, and we also love the multiple recurring revenue stream business model that we've come up with. And we're currently raising 5 million in strategic growth capital to really launch this and go to market, accelerating production, expanding our distribution, and establishing 360 as the next global evolution in basketball. So across 360 Hoops and the umbrella of opportunity we have as a product, this is a portable system that transforms any space into a high engagement community asset. From a gameplay standpoint, this is a completely ownable new format of events. So across new tournaments, leagues, camps, and other scalable licensing opportunities, we feel really strongly that the gameplay is a very valuable opportunity on our hands. And this has potential both indoors and outdoors because of the portability of the hoop. And then from an activation standpoint, this is a really turnkey high energy attraction. So all three backboards and the pull pads on these systems are real estate for brand partners, sponsors, school pride. Wherever we have one of these systems, we can really engage with that community and work with partners to get the eyeballs that they're looking for through our system. So I imagine a world, and we're talking to both NBA and WNBA partners right now, but there being a 360 hoops fan zone outside of every arena that I just mentioned, and from the collegiate space as well. The sponsorship potential on these systems is really impressive. Our why and mission behind 360, it's to deliver the most fun way to fall in love with sports. And we really look at this opportunity as a feeder program and feeder system for all sports. We want to get kids moving. We want to get kids off their cell phones. And we want to give kids an opportunity to have that joy and confidence through sport. And this is a completely one of a kind, first of its kind, engaging, and really visually dynamic opportunity in sport that will get kids to look up and see this and want to gravitate towards it. So that's really our ultimate mission. And the vision is really to become synonymous with innovation, athletics, and fun within the industry. The market opportunity we see specifically in the youth sports market. We sit at that intersection of sport, community, and entertainment, and uniquely backed by the patent we have on both product and gameplay. We really like where we sit here. So across that product company, across that gameplay company, and event company, and across the activation, we really like the versatility that this opportunity provides us.
One thing, because the concept's disruptive, we don't really have a competitor, there's nothing in our way. You know, we're growing our business without taking away from anyone else in this space. So we're participating in this space, but we're not like having to unseat someone else from something in order to grow our business, which I think is interesting. So you're in like a massive business, but we're building our own market inside of it.
Earlier in 2026, we welcomed Hall of Fame coach Geno to the cap table as both investor and strategic advisor. So we're really pleased and honored to have Geno as part of our team. Obviously, a 12-time national champion and one of the most respected minds in basketball history, let alone just living today. So really thrilled to have Geno on our team, and he'll be attending our first event we have in June. A very involved investor and advisor we have is Mike Brey. He's actually brothers with co-founder and inventor of 360 Hoops, Shane Brey. So we have great, obviously, with Craig on, Notre Dame alum. We have great ties to the University of Notre Dame, including Anthony Fasano, Bonzi Colson, and a couple other pretty notable Notre Dame alums. We're excited to use the Notre Dame name behind us and really get involved with them starting this summer and heading into the fall with football season and basketball season. So I'm really excited to have Mike Brey's validation behind this as well. Here's a slide that really speaks specifically to the product itself. So what we've named the 360 Flex. This is our fully portable, durable system that instantly triples the participation, opportunity, and fun on the court. So both indoors and outdoors, this delivers a brand new, first of its kind, high energy experience. The product is fully patented. So we have a patent regarding the polygonal interconnected backboards, and the product is 100% made in the USA and is a very premium commercial grade product. And what's really special about this feature of this is that it's built for every age and skill level. So the product goes from 4.5 feet up to 10 effortlessly with an adjustable hydraulic foot pump underneath the base pad. So from 4.5 feet, where my 3-year-old daughter can make a basket, all the way up to highly competitive AAU kids dunking on 10 feet and everywhere in between. This is a product that can grow with kids and drive value at any age limit. These are going to come fully customizable. So any prospect or client that approaches us, we'll work with them to design the backboards and the pole pad to their school pride, any sponsors that they want to tie in. So it's going to really feel like part of the fabric of the facility that these are entering. And the product is perfect to unlock tournaments, camps, clinics, leagues, fundraisers, fan zones, PE programming, skill development and training, and activations and pop-ups. So depending what facility this is entering, there's various use cases and various opportunity to drive value for the location. And we're pricing this at just under $13,000. That includes the customization, the assembly, and the delivery of the product. And when you look at our competitors, we're priced very nicely, and we sit right under that micro purchase threshold in the United States, which is at 15,000. So any decision maker doesn't need to go through a bidding process to get one of these systems. They can get it under that $15,000 threshold. So that's where we sit in terms of price point and value that we can bring to a facility. Gameplay, it's a 3v3 king of the court style game. So each team has 3 players and a sub that's constantly rotating. So this is a completely dynamic, unique, and competitive experience and addition to basketball. This is played on a circular court where you can score on any 3 of these hoops. So it unlocks completely new creativity and movement within the game of basketball. And like I said, it's a constant rotation. So one team is on offense, one team is on defense, and the other team is in the queue. If you score, you stay on the court and move to defense. And if you give up a basket, your team heads out of the circle and into the queue. And this game, what's so special about it is that this was intuitively created by our founders' middle school sons. So 360 Hoops as a product was created as a skill development and training tool, which it still has that application today and will be a great tool for that. But the game is what is so exciting as well. And the fact that this is completely new opportunity for these tournaments and these camps and clinics, all because of this game that was intuitively created by our exact target market. So we really like that and are excited to roll this out this summer. Another really important value proposition that this brings to the table is the space and engagement. Because these systems are portable, up to 5 of our systems can fit in the same footprint as a standard basketball court. So, where traditional basketball can fit 10 players at a time, 5v5, we can engage 60 players because there's 12 actively competing on each of these systems. And space efficiency and space utilization is a really special feature here. And in terms of scalability and the modular system we're building, as we enter forecourt facilities, we can add up to 20 of these systems and roll in 20 systems for these tournaments. When we get to 6 courts, that's up to 30 systems. So this is where these facilities and these operators who their main job is to have that athlete throughput, get the most revenue per square feet. And this tournament concept is what's really resonating with them. So, for an example, at a 6 court facility, when we scale to this magnitude, we can have 360 athletes competing simultaneously at once. And because our games are so quick, each team is playing twice an hour. So that means 720 athletes can compete every hour in a 360 hoops tournament.
So, for someone buying these hoops, obviously there's value. They can fit a bunch of them on a basketball court, right? So it's like, oh, that's interesting. They can have more people playing. So that helps camps and leagues and all kinds of things. But from a business point of view, and Patrick's going to get to a slide that kind of shows some of the other kind of monetization pathways. The bread and butter of a sport complex is like their tournaments on the weekend. So it's like volleyball during volleyball season, basketball during basketball season, and they just have these big events on the weekend. They have tournaments. But basketball is a tournament that is basically a 5-on-5 game, and they take up an entire basketball court for an hour. Volleyball is a 12-on-12 game, but you can fit two, or 6-on-6 game, but you can fit 2 volleyball courts in the space of a basketball court. So you can have 24 people playing in the space of a basketball court on a 40-minute game. And so if you own a sport complex, you're in a real estate business. So it's return per square foot of play surface. And your income is directly correlated to how many people can play within the same space and time. And 360 Hoops kind of turns this whole thing upside down because, as Patrick said, with 5 courts, we can fit 60 people playing in that same space and time that volleyball's 24 and basketball's 10. But in a tournament model, which is the bread and butter for the sport complexes, we run 4 games per hour. So it's a 10-minute game with a 5-minute transition. So we're actually having 240 people play per hour. Now, in a tournament model, our tournament model is from 9 to 1, it's a 4-hour tournament. And so during those 4 hours, they're going to get a 5-game guarantee, and then they might make it to the final 3. And so each team is playing twice an hour. So our capacity, the way we run our tournament model, is we have 120 unique players playing per hour on a basketball court. That's insane. I did the P&L with him for our 3v3 events, figuring, hey, this is the go-to basketball tournaments. Help me build my P&L for how we're going to run our events. And he calculated that our events is 6.5 times more profitable than a basketball tournament, which is an interesting thing. Again, in theory, this is our launch year, but the capacity to generate profits in a tournament is very substantial, and it's even more than volleyball, which is more than basketball. So that's kind of cool. Anyhow.
We see various use cases across these 9 lanes that we've established. So one, obviously, first and foremost, is going to be installing or placing this at schools. So K through 12 schools, both public and private, is going to be a huge market for us. And we just in April attended our first trade show, and Gopher Sport is the largest K through 12 sports equipment distributor across the public sector. and they already reach out to us and are onboarding us because they want to sell 360 hoops to the public. So they will be a sales distributor with us, and that should be implemented late June in response to the fall semester. So really cool to attend one trade show and get that validation in terms of distributors interested in the product. They see it being a very natural, exciting fit for that market. So very excited about obviously schools, but use cases across churches, sports complexes, municipalities, and parks and rec, community centers, hotels, resorts, colleges and universities, military bases, private training and gyms, and high net worth homes, and a CSR mission driven donor platform. Excited about that. And with our investor network, we really have great relationships across the board in each of these. And here in year one, we're going to definitely be getting those first sales out in each one of these and provide that case study and build those case studies to make for repeatable business and repeatable sales across each of these. But when you take a look at these numbers from a total addressable market standpoint, if we're able to penetrate 1% of the US market at 22,000 sales over time, that's $224 million in revenue, the United States alone. So we think if this catches fire, which we completely own the patents for and really believe that bringing to one of the most popular sports in the world, a product that engages more athletes, allows kids to get more confidence and more shots up on these hoops, we really like where we sit and the opportunity ahead of us. So going to market for the first time with these products from a sales standpoint in June. Our goal, modestly, is to sell 200 units in 2026, and then scaling that up to 1,200 units in 27. So we realize that it's not going to be an overnight success to get to these numbers you see here on screen, but when you completely own an opportunity in the market, we have our patents through 2039. We've validation from the pilots that we've done, and we feel really strongly that once we get these first case studies up and get these hoops out into the public, that it'll be a effect from a sales standpoint. So really excited about these numbers and the potential that we can attack. And then this slide totally shows you everything besides unit sales. So what I just spoke about is obviously us selling the product and getting it in those gyms, and that's extremely important to grow the awareness and adoption of 360 hoops. Because with a mission of delivering the most fun way to fall in love with sports, we want our product to be in the hands of these kids nationally and eventually globally. But what's really special about the business we're building is that this slide you see here generates a lot of value for the company without needing unit sales. So the first pillar I'll talk about here is the 3v3 events. So this is a property that we'll build out an event business that has both owned 360 hoops events that us corporately will run, but then it'll also be revenue generating partnerships with the leading operators in each market that we enter. So just like any basketball tournament, it's a business built around providing value for registrations, gate fees, and having an incredible 360 hoops tournament based off of the amount of people and amount of kids and athletes that we can engage in these facilities. So our event business is very exciting. And then you see the school experience on the right there. This is a turnkey 2-week experience that we'll sell in these markets that we're hosting our tournaments. So each school in this school district will have a 360 hoop for 2 weeks throughout a calendar school year. And for those 2 weeks, the PE teacher will have a custom 360 hoops curriculum that we'll hand them. So it'll be a very turnkey opportunity for every kid in that school to be able to play 360 hoops in their gym classes for 2 weeks. So that'll be a great selling point for everybody in the area to know and fall in love with 360 hoops and get to play it. It'll drive event registrations for when we have tournaments there. And it'll also generate interest when the gym teachers and the teachers keep hearing these kids talk about how badly they want a 360 hoop. So that's exciting. And then layered into that school experience that I'm talking about, while each of these schools has the basket, we'll sell a 360 hoops fundraiser opportunity. So a PTA will be able to run a fundraiser while they have the 360 hoop already on premise. And this is where each kid will have a pledge page for a month and be able to raise money from their friends and families to raise money for an important cause that the school has. And then this will all lead up to an exciting 360 Hoops fundraising day where every kid at the school gets to play 360 Hoops and run special events, have special activities. We really model this after a company called Boosterthon, and they've done 7,000 fundraisers at the elementary level. And I believe they raised 40 million last year, Anthony. Is
Yeah,
that,
they primarily work with elementary schools. I don't know if anyone's approached you to support a booster. Has anyone ever approached you on a booster-thon like a kid? Schools, when they do fundraisers, typically you think, oh, they're fundraising for a team. Oh, the cheer team or the football team. This is an all-day event fundraiser. So it's like the entire school. And the all-day event fundraisers are really successful. There's a number of different ones to choose from, but Booster, the way it works is probably about 2 months before the day of the event, they start a campaign, and each kid has a pledge page, and then turnkey way to message the people they want to donate money or call them. Obviously, the parents help them, and the kids win prizes. So they gamified it. So we're building our own tech stack as well when we roll this out. So each kid has a pledge page. There's prizes they can win. Depending on how much you raise, you can collect what prizes you want. And then on the day of the event, in the case of Booster, what they do is they run circles in a parking lot, and then a DJ plays and they throw confetti, and the first grade comes out for 25 minutes, and then second grade comes out for 25 minutes, and third grade comes out, etc. So our concept, see, schools are already familiar with a booster, and so we just have a refreshing alternative to that. So instead of running circles in a parking lot, we'll have 360 hoops, and they play some fun games for points. And instead of having like total number of laps, you have a total number of points. And that's how it works. But it's very similar. And so the school gets 60%, Booster, or in our case, 360 hoops gets 40%. It's really amazing monetization. What I like about the way we're going to sell these is that, as Patrick alluded to, school experience, which we're launching in 4 states. Connecticut's one of them, actually. Connecticut, Massachusetts, Florida, and Indiana. So in those 4 states, we're going to have as many as 300 schools that will have this product for 2 weeks. We sell at the school district level, Tim, not at the school level. So we don't have to sell each school. We sell the district, and then every elementary and middle school in that district gets to have it for 2 weeks. And it's a really nominal cost to the district. Every child is impacted. The district athletic directors love it. The superintendents love it. And then it rotates around. We built a special PE curriculum block just for those 2 weeks. So the PE teachers love it. And then they can use it for aftercare, orientation day. I mean, they can use it for any number of ways. But since we know when they're going to have our hoop for 2 weeks, now our sales organization, we're hiring 4 people, 1 for each of these markets. They'll contact that school's PTA. They'll say, hey, Tim, you're the president of Wilson Elementary PTA. You have a 360 hoop from like April 15th to April 28th. Oh, yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah. We have all-day event fundraising option. If you want that during those 2 weeks, we could plan it. And then they send some information about that, and that's kind of how we sell it. So the school already has our hoop. While they have it, we can add on the all-day event fundraiser. We get some revenue from the experience, but fundraiser. And since you studied finance at the Mendoza School of Business, like you hit on some of the numbers, like to us, the average fundraiser generates $10,000 to $40,000. And so we get 40% of that. So figuring about average of 20,000, we figure we're going to have gross revenue of around 8,000 on a fundraiser. And then you take out the expenses. We pay a coach a $750 day rate to execute this fundraiser for us, which they love that. Like, because by the way, they show up from like 7 a.m. to like 2 or 3 p.m. for $750. And then they're just doing what a coach does, the kids to play games and have fun, right? So we pay the coach, we pay for some prizes, and about $5,000 of from that. And we're going to do, I think we're going to do like 75 in each market this year, our launch year, and 75 separate sales, because once you get into a district, you like 8 or 9 elementary schools in the district. Like if you get one elementary school, you'll probably get like 4 or 5 of them. Probably like 7 to 8, 9 sales that it'll take in order to hit those targets. But I'm really excited about that. And that look at a 360 hoops. There's kind of pathways. So the school business is almost like its own business. It's one of the monetization pathways.
And then in 27, we build out a sanctioned sport where we'll host regional and national tournaments. And for a minimal fee of $5 a month, players will be able to sign up and become part of this sanctioned sport. and gaining $60 per year per player who's involved in this will turn out to be a significant business. And Anthony can speak more on that. But additionally, for that $5, we're providing more value. We'll have exclusive content on our app with coaches like Geno or Mike Brey or Pat Knight, providing significant lessons, drills, and different experiences that provide value for us to get $60 per year from each player who will join our sanctioned sport. And then licensing, because we own the gameplay and we own the hardware in years 2 and so on. When we sell a 360 hoop system to a revenue generating facility, so that being a sports complex or a private training gym, we will sell a licensing fee to unlock the gameplay of 360 hoops. So we want to grow to be able to empower every gym across the country to be able to host 360 hoops tournaments, 360 hoops leagues, 360 hoops camps while we're not there. So that's really the recipe of growing that licensing business and being able to have 360 hoops grow without needing corporate there at every event. That's a significant goal of ours. Layered into that licensing opportunity is empowering local coaches to get and license a 360 hoops trailer that has a 360 hoops system on it. So they can run and operate their own training and skill development virtually anywhere without needing a gym. They can bring the game closer to these kids, make the lives easier on the parents of the kids that they develop. And we really see a licensing business behind both of the patent of gameplay and hardware being very valuable. And we hold that license through 2039, just for your reference. And through years of these iterations, these prototypes, we're going to market with prototype 9. So throughout the development and history of this company, we've had some really special validation and proof point moments. I'll talk about 3 of them here. One being the Dude Perfect. And we built them a beautifully custom 360 hoop, and they used it in their video on YouTube with Luka Doncic. So we have a really cool footage of Luka and the 2 guys from Dude Perfect shooting on our system. ESPN, we filmed a showcase for them that aired on ESPN The Ocho in August. And since August, they've aired us just about weekly on one of the family of ESPN networks, whether it was ESPN2, ESPNU, or ESPN News. 2 of our prototypes were used in back-to-back years with the NBA at their NBA All-Star Weekend Fan Fest. So we have really great relationships with some pretty special people in the NBA. One of them being Adam Silver's brother, Eric Silver, who's an investor in the company. And then the executive vice president of global partnerships actually went to my high school. So we just had our first meeting, and just such a small world. And the amount of crossover, and especially with you Notre Dame folks with this company, is crazy too. And yeah, we've done Orlando Magic at halftime shows. And then I'll talk, because Anthony likes talking about Mike Brey's involvement. And COVID, we hosted a really special and kids clinic for soldiers at Fort Bragg in Texas, or Fort Hood. And that was a real special moment. We had Coach Shane and Coach Mike out there doing a joint together. So really, really cool to see that. And we really think that the military is going to be a massive client because of the mobility of our systems and the ability for it to be used in various locations. But across the rest of these use cases, I don't need to get into each one of them, but we really feel confidently that this is a product and a game that drives a ton of different value across a ton of different verticals. And speaking of, Anthony alluded to the pickleball, we really see that kind of fit for us and where we want to sit in the basketball space. So leveraging a larger sport compared to tennis, leveraging a younger audience compared to tennis, and leveraging the fact that we have the product and the gameplay patented. We really see this being, if somebody owned the patent to pickleball. And we love this because it's 360 is an approachable game. It's a community-driven game, and it's a space-efficient game. So just like pickleball courts shrink the amount of space used, 360 Hoops does the same thing for these facilities and for these operators who their main business is that real estate and getting the throughput.
I mean, when you're building a company, ultimately you're trying to build shareholder value, right? And you're trying to look at, all right, how are we going to get a return on investment? And typically when you buy an investment, you get a return when you sell the investment. So I don't know, I've invested in biotech companies and I don't make any money until they cure cancer or I sell the investment, right? So what I like about this, we built this company to distribute earnings along the way. So those four pieces of the pie that each generate revenue, we're bringing these up to kick out 9 cents per year, totaling 36 cents per year. We're going to get up to that full distribution in 2028. So, by the way, this is a 50-cent investment. So you can buy units of ownership at 50-cent investment. It's a pre-money valuation of $57 million. And we raised about $3.5 million today, but that doesn't count the commitments we have right now. We're raising $5 million now. The founders have put in just under $2 million, myself and Keith Derry, who's the second largest unit holder. So, brought a lot of money to get to this point, and then now we're bringing this to the market this year. So 26, we're going to have a small distribution of 2 cents, but that's a 4-cent return on a 50-cent unit. 27, it's projected to be 18 cents, which is a nice 36% return. That's actually pretty nice. And 28, that's 72%. But the cool thing is, like, we intend to continue that on an annual basis. So this company is going to pay out actually 4 direct deposits every year to our unit holders. So an annual direct deposit for share of earnings, what we're forecasting here. But we're also, because we're not reliant on sales earnings to grow this business, meaning that the recurring revenue aspects of our company are generating all the dollars we need for our base expenses, that we're taking all sales earnings and we're not retaining it. We're just paying it out in the quarterly distribution. So that's really awesome because you think that, and Patrick didn't show this slide, but you look at those 10 markets in the United States, the number of unit potential we could sell if we got a 5% market share, that's like $1 of business. So I don't know where we'll end up, Stephen. Maybe we'll end up 200 million, maybe we'll end up 500 million, maybe we'll end up $1 billion, maybe we'll end up 3 billion. All I know is like about half of it is going to get paid out, to our quarterly basis. And that's really, really cool. With the first one going out like July 3rd, coming up from the same our launch quarter. So it's going to be pretty small, but it'll just grow. And that's kind of the concept. So you buy units of ownership. The own goes up. I think we have out of $50 of shareholder potential in this over time. I think we can accomplish 80% of that, maybe 3 years. As far as like people value the cut if you were to sell those units. But I love that, and most people that we brought in, they've all been personal friends of me, Shane Brey or Mike Brey. Mostly, and then one Nike investor, that guy that I mentioned, brought in 14 people. So everyone that bought into this, they have a personal connection to basketball, to sports. Like it's a project it's like something you don't really want to sell. You this, and it's closely held. But I think once you investment and have your money back, like that's a good thing. That's house money, and if it's for you, great. Could we sell one of these things at some point? Maybe, could we take these revenue parts of it and take it public, maybe, but just looking to sport to the world, kids off phones, get them involved in PE class, and create a fun 3-3-3 to basketball season in every market for people to capture season, have fun. And that's kind of the concept. And one thing we talked nothing about, except Pat mentioned, was that these backboards and pole pants are brandable. So there's there's revenue areas. Like now that we planted the seed with you, you might be texting me 3 days later, hey, Anthony, have you thought about, there's once we kind of get this established, add to this, like sponsor revenue, like even point shot, that's a 2-point circle. Like in a tournament, you can have sponsors pay for that 2-point bracket, that 2-point backboards, the pole pads, large events. We have a festival style event we're planning in Florida where we might have as many as 180 courts set up and they're closing down part of the city for it. It's like December 18th.
Here you see a slide of our partnerships that we have in development and are really excited about where these things are heading. We're currently in talks with the Knicks, who are doing pretty dang well over here in the Eastern Conference Finals. So the Knicks are looking to be our first NBA pilot partner with 360 Hoops. They love the product for the customization reasons, the ability that this is new sponsorship asset for them. And we'll look to work with them across their junior Knicks program, their fan engagement at MSG, and also through pop-ups throughout the city. And we're doing the same thing with the Portland Fire in their inaugural WNBA season. We've directly been working with Claire Hamill there, the president of the team. We have 7 former Nike executives as part of our cap table. And Claire is good friends with one of our investors, and she really sees this as an amazing product for youth development and to engage with their fans. And as mentioned, through our Notre Dame connections, we're really excited to deliver and pitch them on this 360 hoop and the idea of partnering around fans and the South Bend community. Left, you see Saquon Barkley there. He's hosting his flag football tournament in the Lehigh Valley, and that's where I'm from. So I have ties to Saquon, and we're going to have a 360 Hoops fan zone at his youth flag football tournament, as well as present the same opportunity we're here today to bring him on as an investor in the company. The K Academy is next week, which is Coach Krzyzewski at Duke University. His tournament for high net worth individuals who come out and just love the game of basketball. So there's 160 men who are coming out to Cameron Indoor next week to play basketball all day long and network with 50 Duke alums. We're going to have a custom K Academy 360 hoop on premise there as a fan zone activation for the families of these men who are competing all day long chewed on. And then that same hoop is going to be used for the Duke camp with Coach Shire the following week. Earl Monroe's daughter, Maya Monroe, works for 360 Hoops and is a partner of mine. And we're going to be creating a custom Earl Monroe 60 hoop to gift and have at his school in New York City. They're opening a beautiful new basketball. It's amazing. Going to be doing a ribbon cutting event with Earl Monroe coming, Clyde Drexler, and inviting the New York media and all of their network to see this 360 hoop in action. And we're super excited for that to kick off 360 Hoops in New York City. And then Shooting Touch is an amazing nonprofit out of Boston that does amazing work in Rwanda in Africa. And we have a letter of intent that's looking to be signed in the next day or two to announce a partnership for us to bring at least 8 of our 360 Hoop systems over to Africa. As part of the announcement is at the BAL finals, which is taking place next week, where the NBA executives are going to be over there. So Africa is an amazing for the sport of basketball. And the idea is that 360 Hoops provides a portable, more accessible addition to any basketball court because of the portability and the fact that we're bringing in 3 systems. So I just wanted to lay out kind of these out in the works this summer that all get the brand awareness, the brand and 60 Hoops into the markets and for kids to play it and fall in love with what we were bringing to the table.